Hi, everyone, and welcome to the Black Soul Music Experience Podcast. I'm your DJ and host, Sam Wilson Jr., and I'm here to bring you the history genre of black music: gospel, jazz, blues, old school classic soul, old school hip hop, today's hip hop and R&B, Caribbean, Latin, Afrobeat, Afro-Latina, blue-eyed soul, disco, go-go, line dances, and the Lost 45s. So come with me as I take you on to a trip to the history genre destination of black music. Right now on the Black Soul Music Experience Podcast. Welcome to the Black Soul Music Experience. I'm Sam Wilson Jr., and I have a special guest on my show. And this gentleman that I'm about to introduce is an R&B singer, songwriter, and arranger, renowned for captivating hearts and minds with his conscience, forward-thinking lyrics, and uplifting songs. His music is now available on all major streaming services and on all social media channels. And I got a chance to check out his music video, Moving Forward, which is available right now on YouTube, and got a chance to download his song, Moving Forward, which is available right now on YouTube. Excuse me, on iTunes. So please help me welcome to the Black Soul Music Experience Podcast. He goes by the name of IAM Caldwell. His name is Frank Caldwell. Mr. Caldwell, how are you?
I am doing fantastic, Sam. How are you today?
I'm doing fine, and you? Welcome to
Good.
my podcast. It's a pleasure to have you here. When I got a chance to read your bio and everything, I said to myself, I gotta have this guy on this show because, as I mentioned in the intro, I got a chance to check out that music video, Moving Forward, and I said to myself, we do need something because Lord knows we do need
Yes.
something for an
Yes, we do.
unperfect world that we are living in right now.
Yes, sir.
So I'm very delighted that you're here. So America doesn't know who you are. The world doesn't know who you are. So I am very delighted to have you here on the Black Soul Music Experience podcast.
Well, well, thank you for having me, Sam. This is an honor and a pleasure today.
You welcome. So let us begin, shall we? Now,
Yes.
where were you born?
I came from Columbus, Ohio. There's a lot of talent that comes out of Ohio, and I'm just happy to be in the number.
Okay. Now, how far is it from Cleveland?
Probably about 3 hours, I would imagine, up to the Great Lakes City. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, yeah, go ahead.
Oh, I was saying, yeah, it's about 3 hours. I spent plenty of time up in Cleveland.
Okay.
Yeah,
Now, were your parents in the music industry or did they have 9 to 5 day jobs?
it's interesting that neither one of my parents were in the music industry. Neither one professed to have any vocal talent or music inclinations. It was actually my mom's side of the family, her aunt, and actually the entire family. They were all musically inclined, singers, musicians, and the whole nine. And we actually lived right next door to each other. So while my parents had their 9 to 5s, I certainly got all of my musical inspiration from my family.
Okay. Now, which high school did you go to?
So I went to Independence High School, home of the Sixers in Columbus, Ohio.
And which college did you go to?
I went to a couple. I went to Atlantic Technical College where I got my degree in medical coding and billing. And then I went to MedCerts Academy where I gained my certification as a mental health support specialist. And currently I'm enrolled in Southern New Hampshire University. I am getting my bachelor's degree in psychology with a minor in mental health care.
And what was your major in college?
My major when I went to school at first was medical coding and billing. I did that for several years where I learned anatomy. I actually could have become an RN at the completion of that degree program. And I stayed in the field for a while. I've always had an interest in healthcare. I remember my mom gave me these life cycle encyclopedias when I was a kid, and I just read them voraciously. And I'm still kind of in the healthcare field now. I'm doing a mental health care. I'm a mental health counselor now, so absolutely love it.
Now, who did you want it to be when you grow up?
There were many greats when I was growing up, but more recently, I love the group Commission. I actually got a chance to meet them early on before I'm Going On came out. Always a huge fan of the Winans. Spent some time with Marvin and Vicky, and I grew up in a church where all the gospel artists came through there. So I was very fortunate to come up under some of the heavyweights, John P. Key, all of them. So yeah, my formative years were amazing, man.
Now, did you sing in a church choir or played any musical instruments? And if so, what church did you belong to?
I grew up in Mount Hermon Missionary Baptist Church, where the pastor is Donald J. Washington. He's like a father figure to me. Before then, there was S.R. Dowdy, and that's the one that was really there when I was growing up. Did I sing in the choir? Yes, I did. I remember the day that I entered the choir, and I'm from Ohio, and there's an amusement park there called Kings Island. So here I am in the front row singing soprano with my little Fred Flintstone tambourine. Went on, yes, I always sang in the choir, and at the age of 17, I became the minister of music of all the choirs in the church.
Now, how old were you when you started writing songs?
I would say about 15. That's the time where I was just learning how to play the keyboard. And I remember I wrote this song when I was 15 years old. It's called Power from God. It was recorded by one of the local choirs, Keith Dobbins and the Resurrection Mass Choir. My very good friend, Kim Rutherford, who was written for Fred Hammond, Will Downing, a lot of people. That's when I started recording, and the song that I wrote in when I was 15 years old, 9 years later, ended up at number 33 on the Billboard charts. So, yeah, I kind of came out the gate running.
Mhm. Was being a singer and songwriter your calling?
Absolutely. I did start off my recording career in 2000. I had this back then. I was an R&B gospel artist, and no one really knew what to do with this guy. He's got harmonies like Boys to Men. He's singing like Brian McKnight, but he's singing these Christian lyrics. I got picked up by Babyface's label. That deal didn't work out, and so I started my own publishing company, my own record label, and that's the way it's been ever since the year 2000.
Mhm. Now, growing up, who were some of your favorite singers and songwriters?
Oh man, Marvin Winans for sure, and Fred Hammond. Yeah, Fred Hammond he played a very pivotal part in my songwriting back in the day. And years later, I discovered India Ari, and man, I always tell people I feel like I'm the male version of India Ari because of our lyrical content and because of our soul music. So yeah, definitely from Fred to India, yeah, it was amazing.
Now, who were your musical influences that had inspired you to sing and write
Wow.
songs?
Um, I love Marvin's voice. He's probably one of my greatest vocalist heroes. But I believe it was like BB Winans. Then there was an R&B artist named Joe. I believe the group Mint Condition was out. So anything that had rich harmonies, yeah, those are the things that influenced me. Tank, and yeah, October London now, Kevin Ross. So all of these people really influenced my writing.
Now, how did you came up with the name I Am Caldwell, and what does it stands for?
Okay, so my given name is Frank Caldwell, as you mentioned at the beginning of the podcast. What I did is I created an acronym for it, CALDWELL. As you can see, the shirt I have on now. And basically, it's Caldwell stands for confident, accepted, loved, determined, winning, encouraged. Every day I'm learning, and I'm a long, long way from where I was. So, not only is it my artist name, but it's an affirmation. So, when people come to see me perform, I want them to go away thinking I am Caldwell, not just saying this is the artist. I want them to feel confident or on the way to accepted or and loved and determined. So that's the kind of message I like to leave my audience with. So I am Caldwell.
Now, how would you describe your sound of music? Is it like songs that like uplifting, empowerment, thought provoking, or like songs with a social message?
I would definitely go with a social message. I'd always describe my music as lyrics that uplift, encourage, and inspire. And I know that that's from my background and my rearing in gospel music. And, I always want to make the audience feel something. The past few years, Sam, I've actually been writing songs that chronicle my mental health journey. And I write about all kinds of things because I've been through them. And I try to encourage people. I meet them where they are and say, hey, I know what these emotions feel like, but here's what I did to still live a happy and productive life. So I like to give back with all my music.
Back then I did season 2 of my Black Soul Music Experience podcast,
Hmm.
and I did message music, honoring those that we have lost on September 11th.
Wow.
And when 98.7 Kiss FM in New York City, back in September of 2002, right after the Tom Joyner morning show, they would
Mm.
play message music all day on 9/11. They would start
Rightfully
doing
so.
it since 2002, and they continued to do it by the time Kiss FM went off the air for good.
Wow. That's
So
amazing.
all day on that 9/11 day, not only they played gospel like Hezekiah Walker or Fred
Hmm.
Hammond or the Winans family, but they also played some message songs from Gamblin Hubs Philadelphia International Records, where they had the OJs and Harold Melvin and the
Okay.
Blue Notes and
Hmm.
Teddy Pendergrass and the Three Degrees and the Jones Girls. And the same thing with Marvin Gaye and Stevie Wonder, both from
Hmm.
Motown. When Marvin Gaye put out the What's Going On LP, it was a concept album. Everything when he talked about the war in Vietnam, when he
Yeah.
talked about problems in the black community, dealing with police brutality, and
Yeah.
dealing with the environment or climate change. Same thing with Stevie Wonder. He had a couple of LPs out with some message songs in them.
Hmm.
His LP, Inner Visions, that had dealt with
Yes.
some songs. One that had dealt with systematic racism. The song Living for the City was one of them.
Sure.
And
Hmm.
another song, Too High, although it wasn't a hit, but it had to deal with drug addiction.
Yeah.
When we
Oh
hear
wow.
songs now, they're
Hmm.
dealing with drug addiction, and now we're dealing with gun control.
Absolutely.
And another song called Black Like Me, performed by the black female country singer Mickey Guyton.
Oh,
And that
okay.
song came out right after the death of George Floyd, which sparkled the Black Lives Matter movement.
Yes, sir.
So every time when you hear those message songs, they'll play it every day. And not only that, I throw in some other songs, including We Are the World by USA for Africa.
Mm-hmm.
That came out in 1985, and that raised money for Africa famine relief. And another one from Dionne Warwick and Friends called That Was Friends of Four.
Mm-hmm.
That helped deal with the AIDS epidemic. And
Okay.
that song raised a lot of money for AIDS research. So when I played all of those message songs, that's just a reminder that not only you hear gospel music on Sunday, but you need some message music to get you through the work week all the way until
Absolutely.
Sunday comes.
Yeah, I remember when
So,
Operation Desert.
yes,
Go ahead.
yes.
I was going to say I remember when
Operation Desert
Operation.
Storm, yes,
Yes, and I wrote this
yeah.
song called "Bring 'Em Home." I had actually attended a songwriter retreat in Nashville, Tennessee. I was the only African American there, but and they used country as the genre, and that's when I learned how to write non-fictional or fictional music. And I wrote this song called "Bring 'Em Home." And a friend of mine was an admiral in the Navy. He heard it and he just began to weep. I ended up releasing that single. It was part of the soldiers package that they sent over to Iraq, and I donated all the proceeds to the military, to the military
Mm,
families. Yeah.
okay, wow. Now, let's talk about your music publishing, Janzia Publishing Company.
hmm
What year did you form that music publishing company and how many years was it in existence?
Okay. Jasmine Publishing, which is a combination of my kids' names, Jasmine, Shania, and Isaiah. It's been in existence since 2000 when the record deal wasn't favorable towards me. That's when I decided to do the record label and the publishing company because unlike a lot of artists, I studied the business of music. I read it voraciously, and so I was able to look at that recording contract and say, "No, this is not going to work in my favor." Even as a new artist, it was just it wasn't a good fit. So, Jasmine Music Label, Jasmine Music Group was born in 2000. At the same time, Jasmine Publishing was born as well.
Hmm. Now, we brought up music publishing, and not everybody knows what music publishing is all about. So, what
hmm
is music publishing and what does it does? What is it all about?
Okay, so when you write a song, it's 50%. It's 50% the lyrics or the composition and the musician, and then the other 50 cent. Sorry, the other 50% is the publishing. So when your song is played, and you're a member of one of the performing rights groups, which I'm a member of ASCAP, there's ASCAP, BMI, CSAC, all of those, and the music that when they turn and when the restaurants, the grocery stores, the clubs, whoever is playing your music, um, there's a publishing royalty that goes along with that. What a lot of artists did not know is that they would release a record and they would be getting their royalties, but there's 50% of that cut that actually just sat, if you will, in a bank and they weren't able to access it. A lot of them didn't even know that they could do their own publishing. Oftentimes with record labels, the record label owns the masters, they get the publishing, which is the reason why I started my own. So music publishing is like 50% of the copyright or the royalty that you get whenever you write a song.
Hmm. Yes, because when I once worked at AM 1460 WVOX and its sister station 93.5 FM WRTN, every April, um, the owner, the late William O'Shaughnessy, always gives out that BMI sheet to
hmm
those that I take care of on Sunday nights. I take care of the Caribbean programs and the Indo Caribbean programs.
Wow.
And every fourth Sunday of April, we have to do this BMI sheet. We have to write down the name of the song,
Yes.
who was the singer, and who wrote the song.
hmm
And not all of us don't pay close attention when you go to the record shops from back in the day, when you pick up
Right.
a 45 single and
Yeah.
then you'll know the name of the song, but we never pay close attention who wrote the song and
Right.
who was a music publisher, and we don't pay close attention to what record label that they're on.
Right.
So when I look at the 45 or the LP, I always find out who's the singer, what was the name of the
Yeah.
song,
Mm-hmm.
and then what album was it taken from. And then I would take a look at what record label were they on.
Mm-hmm.
Whether they were on Columbia, CBS, or Epic, or Philadelphia International Records, or whether they were on RCA, which was the parent company of NBC, or whether they were on
Right.
ABC, or whether they were on Warner Brothers, or 20th Century Fox, or MGM, or Polydor back
Mm-hmm.
then. Many of us don't really pay close attention to the record labels that they were on.
Yeah.
But when I'm watching Soul Train, when Don Cornelius would always say, and here's the next group or next artist, this is their latest single on what record label they were on.
Right. Mm-hmm.
So as a consumer, it's always important to find out who's the record label, who's the artist it was on. Because by
Mm-hmm.
the time when record labels either go out of business or they get picked up by another independent company or
Mm-hmm.
some unknown company that doesn't know any record music experience.
Uh-huh.
And as you can see now, many of our favorite record labels either they were sold or they were merging. As
Mm-hmm.
you can see now, since 2018, record companies were merging, and then the pandemic hit, more mergers. And then we're in the post pandemic. Many of our favorite singers are no longer on the major record labels. So now
Yeah.
they go on independent.
Mm-hmm.
As I can see, Alicia Keys, she's no longer on J Records. That's a major record label, which was founded
Mm-hmm.
by Clive Davis,
Clive
the
Davis,
same one
yes.
who founded Arista Records, which was merged
Mm-hmm.
with Bell Records. So I see now Alicia Keys has her own record label, independent.
Mm-hmm.
So she can collaborate. Who can she collaborate with
Mm-hmm.
without having the record CEO executive dictate to them of
What she
who
can
they
do.
don't want to dictate, who can collaborate with or
Mm-hmm.
do a song that they don't want to do that song.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like the old saying, controversy sells, and if you make it a hit, it becomes a
Right.
hit. And yeah, some of the singers may not want to do that song. I'll give you an example. Melissa Morgan, who came on the scene in 1985, and her debut LP was called Do Me Baby. That's the name of the LP. The producers wanted her to do the remake of the song because when I first saw the LP, I thought Prince wrote the song for Melissa Morgan. But when
Mm-hmm.
I was watching TV One's Unsung, and when the producers gave her the song to do, and she says, I'm not going to do that song, it's like too raunchy for her
Mm-hmm.
to sing. But when
Mm-hmm.
she said, just give it a shot, and the rest was history.
Yes, it
It was
was.
number one on Billboard's R&B Black Singles charts back in January 1986 for 2 weeks, and got a standing ovation when she performed it on Soul Train, and the rest was history.
The rest was history. Yes.
Now, let's talk about the record label that you founded, the
Okay.
Jazznia Music Group. Now,
Mm-hmm.
how many years was that record label was in excuse me, existence?
Jasmine Music Group is still in existence today. I am the only artist. I never wanted to be the type of label where I acquired artists. I was more of an educator of music. My son sometimes, he does a record, but no, it's just me, and it's going strong even today. Independent is absolutely the way to go, and I found that out very, very, very quickly.
Now, what's the format of your record label? Is it gospel, jazz, blues? Is it today's R&B?
It's all the above. As a songwriter, um, it literally is when I'm writing the song, it's whatever the genre requires or whatever the genre the song requires. Um, the music, if people go to my I Am Caldwell YouTube page, they'll hear Jaded, which is more jazzy. But then they'll hear My Purpose, which is kind of a up tempo R&B. It's got a little rap in it. So as long I'm not bound to a genre, which is the beauty of having my own label. I write what inspires me, what I hear, what I feel, and I have the autonomy to put out whatever I want, and that way it reaches a lot of people. It reaches a lot of people. So that's the whole purpose for why I do what I do. I told myself, I said, I don't need to be famous. I just need to be effective, and as long as I'm effective, that's my goal.
Now, as I said in the intro, I got a chance to check out your music video on YouTube called
Hmm.
Moving Forward with a glimpse of then Vice President Kamala Harris.
Yeah.
And I really loved the video so much, I got a chance to download that song on iTunes.
Hey, that's
Now, tell
amazing.
us
Thank
about
you.
that song and what was that song was all about.
Moving forward, I believe I recorded that song, wrote and recorded that song like 2 years before um, she decided to run for the presidency of the United States. Moving forward was just this uplifting song, and it really talked about. I mean, there's been turmoil, in the United States for a very, very, very long time. I wanted to write a song that talked about if we can come, together, then I can see you, you can see me, I can hear you, you can hear me, and together we can move it forward. And so when the campaign came up, and that was kind of one of her taglines, I actually sent it to the campaign. They didn't use it, but I wanted to not remix the song, but do another video with her and her running mate. Just in concert with her messaging then. So, moving forward is a very uplifting song. It talks about ups and downs, but together we can get it done. And I still believe that even now, even in this divisive time that we live in, I think we're strong. We're stronger. Yes, we are challenged right now, but we are moving forward. We have a lot of barriers that people are trying to put in our place, but as African Americans, we've always had that resolve and that strength to move forward, past all kinds of adversity. So I wouldn't think that we wouldn't do the same thing today. So that's kind of what
Mhm.
moving forward tells the people.
Yeah. In the words of Chris Rock from that movie, Head of State, you're not going to see another African American in the next 50 years. And that is
Yeah,
the truth. Yeah.
we'll see.
Now, you, yes, we will see. We'll
Hmm.
see. You just got to pray. Have prayer, patience, and
Yes.
think positive. And
Hmm.
we got to let the young people know too. They got to get involved too. If you want to see
Yeah,
change, you got to be the change.
that change.
Now,
Correct.
you spoke at a music industry and songwriting at Columbus State Community College. What advice have you given to the students about the music industry?
The first thing, I speak to songwriters or those who are aspiring songwriters, and I say it's not always necessary to learn music theory, although that does help, but learn the craft. Learn how to actually write a song. Learn. I mean, they have this version where they talk about it's A, then AB, and ABA. Okay, but as long as you learn the craft of songwriting, because there are a lot of very, very, very successful songwriters out there because they took the time to learn the craft. The second thing I always emphasize is know your business. I talk to my son about this all the time. You should find out who is the Harry Fox agency, what is a mechanical royalty, What are dart royalties? How much do I make from streaming? How much does Spotify take? How much does iTunes take? Because it's one thing to say, I have this talent and I want to put out records. That's fine. But, there's a lot of groups, TLC, Fantasia, there's a lot of people, even Angie Stone talked about it before her passing, how they didn't know. They trusted it to the circle that they were in, and then, come to find out that people weren't taking care of it. So I always emphasize learn your craft and then know your business before you put out a record. Before, because a lot of us, they put money into producers and songwriting. I was just talking to a guy at the gym the other day, and he was talking about this record. I was like, what's your marketing budget? He said, huh? I was like, what's your marketing budget? Because you can go in the studio and do all this great work. If you don't have a marketing budget, it's not going to move. Yeah, so I think I'm more of a mentor these days, because of the vast knowledge that I've acquired over the years, and I just want to see young people and people my age. I want to see them get their due, but in order to do that, they have to do the work.
Mhm. Now, speaking on this subject, I had took up music education myself. I was
Hmm.
in the third grade in private school, and we would go to music class. We would have um, a music teacher that looked like Lindsay Wagner, the Bionic Woman. So we were singing
Okay.
her songs. And then I went to IS 144, or Junior High School 144 in the Bronx, where I took up music education, the sixth grade, seventh grade, and the eighth grade. And when those violins came out, I wanted to play those violins so bad, but
Yeah.
it takes practice and you have to know your notes, just like you said, four eighths, how to play it in different melodies. And that's the same thing when I went to Harry S. Truman High School in the Bronx, New York. I took up music education again in the ninth grade.
Hmm.
So, just like you said, there's a lot of things that has to be taught, and as you know, music education is on the chopping block. So, for those who want to be a singing star or
Hmm.
songwriter, but do you know the business? And that's very important.
Yes.
So, I
Absolutely.
have to ask you this question on why is music education, including songwriting, is so important?
Music in general, Sam, creates, the ability for the brain to change is called neuroplasticity, and when you are either listening to music or creating music, it does something to your neural pathways. It gives you, it causes you to have critical thinking. It causes your spirit to rise. I also feel like music education is important because, believe it or not, learning music can teach you math. Because there's lots of things to count. There's the tonic chords, there's the other chords, and music actually teaches you math. And then there is, it's a stress reliever. It's something that you can put out and say, I did this. It helps people to manifest at least one avenue of purpose in their life. So I feel like it's very, very, very important. These understanding that music education is on the chopping block, I think that that's unfortunate because children they learn how to be a unit. They learn social skills. They learn all of these types of things by playing music in a band or in the schools and stuff like that. So yeah, that's what music education did for me. And I feel like that if we can keep it around, that's exactly what it'll do for this generation and generations to come.
Yes, indeed. Now, here's a question I always ask my guests: living
Okay.
or dead, which singer or songwriter you wish you wanted to meet or to perform with?
I have to go back to India Ari because When I tell you, I love her lyrical content. I love every record. I remember when I used to struggle with my depression, and I would listen to Strength, Courage, and Wisdom, and it just did something to me, you know. And ironically, I used to listen to Mary J. Blige's "Good Woman Down." Now I understand that the song is about a woman, but that was probably one of the best produced records or singles that I had ever heard. It was just absolutely amazing. But it just taught me you can't keep me down. I went to the edge of the ledge and I almost jumped, but it brought me back, and I love those people. So yeah, definitely India Ari. Marvin Winans is a beast when it comes to that. I believe his name Tommy Ford, Rodney Jerkins. I got to meet him a few years ago. Yeah, I love these people. Their pen is just absolutely amazing.
Mhm. Now, here in the Black Soul Music Experience, I
Hmm.
always ask my guests who are the top 10 R&B black artists of all time. Now, since I have you, we're going to be doing the Black Soul Music Experience top 10 classic soul and today's R&B artists of all time. Now, here's how it
Okay.
works. We do it like a top 10 countdown. I'm sure you remember the show America's Top 10 with Casey
Right.
Kasem,
Hmm.
where it starts at the bottom five, start at number 10, and then we find out who was the best singer but didn't get any recognition. And then we
Hmm.
get to the top five, we will find out who was the best singer of all time. That artist have received top 10 number one hits,
Hmm.
that artist received a platinum or double platinum or triple platinum or diamond platinum or gold album,
Hmm.
that artist received a Grammy or an American Music Award or a Soul Train Award or a BET Award or an MTV VMA Award, that artist was inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, or that artist performed on American Bandstand or Soul Train or the Midnight Special or Saturday Night Live or Solid Gold, or that they performed on so many dance shows locally across the states, or did they had their own prime time special on CBS or NBC or ABC, or did that artist perform their special on PBS, whether it was regular or during Pledge Month, or did that artist had their own live special airing on HBO or Showtime? So, Mr. Caldwell, are you ready to take that challenge?
Let's go.
Okay. Who should be at number 10?
Now, is this the most known or like the unsung heroes?
The unsung.
Wow. It may surprise people that I would put this person at the bottom, but one of the most underappreciated artists, I just got a chance to see her recently here in Atlanta, Shantae Moore. Shantae Moore, her voice is just amazing. She's never won a Grammy. She's never won a
Ah,
Grammy. And
Shantae Moore. We haven't heard from her in a while. When she
yeah.
made her debut back in 1991, duet
Hmm.
with Keith Washington, they did the song called Candlelight and You from the House Party
Hmm.
2 soundtrack. And then she had a couple of albums with her debut single Love's Taking Over. And
Hmm.
then she had some other songs in the mid 90s. Shantae's Got a Man, Old School Lovin', just to name a few.
Yeah.
So just like you said, she
Hmm.
didn't get that much recognition or no awards or anything so far. So
Right.
we'll put Shantae Moore at number 10. Who
Yes.
should be at number 9?
Wow. Hmm. I would say Debbie Winans. Debbie Winans. Debbie Winans, her and her sister Angie performed as a duo a long time ago. And Debbie Winans has this rich alto voice that is just amazing. Now, of course, the Winans is a a legacy dynasty family. BB and CC, of course, chart topping artist. CC now on her own, just blowing up everywhere. But I feel like Debbie was one of the unsungs, and even my number 8 when we get to it, I'm still staying in the Winans family. So we'll get to that in a second.
Okay, so we'll put Angie and Debbie. They only did one song, but we haven't heard from them in a while. That they are part of the Winans family, so
Yeah.
we'll put them at number 9.
Well, they did
Okay,
Light of
number
Love.
8.
Um, Daniel Winans. Daniel Winans only did one record, but it was brilliant. Brilliant. And I don't know whether,
Yes.
yeah, he did. He just won the. I don't know what it is, but Daniel Winans, that record was incredible. It was incredible.
Yes, Daniel Winans. He had an album out. I forgot the name of it, but it came out back in the late '80s, early
Hmm.
'90s. I still have his album, and just like you said, we haven't heard any hits from him. So
Hmm.
we'll put Daniel Winans at number 8.
Okay.
Okay, number 7.
Oh wow, this is a hard one. Um, I would say Stokely from Mint Condition. Now, Stokely got a lot of
Ah,
shine. He got a lot of shine. He got some shine when Mint Condition was out, but I still feel like Stokely does. He continues to put out great music, but I still don't think he's got his due just yet. Just yet,
hmm.
yeah.
Okay, yes. Stokely, lead singer from Mint Condition,
Mint
when the
Condition.
group made its debut back in 1991, bringing
Mm-hmm.
back the real music instruments, not no
Mm-hmm.
synthesizer or drum things, but they were bringing back the real stuff. So when
Mm-hmm.
they made their debut back in 1991, they had the song called Breaking My Heart, and
Mm-hmm.
they had some other songs called You Sent Me Swinging. And
Yeah.
when Stokely went on its own, he did a duet. I believe it was either Kelly Price or something. But
Okay.
yeah, but I love that song when Stokely made that duet. And they were
Mm-hmm.
playing it on not only on the Tom Joyner Morning Show, but also on the Steve Harvey Morning Show as well. So I couldn't get it out of my head. So
Mm-hmm.
we'll put Stokey at number 7. Who should be at number 6?
Eric Roberson.
Ah, Eric Roberson.
Yes.
Okay. I haven't heard from him
In
in
a
a while,
while,
so I
but
haven't
man.
listened to any of the black radio stations. Most of them, they don't play some of his songs. But
Mm-hmm.
if I do my travels, if I tune in to some of the NPR radio stations,
Mm-hmm.
they will play some of his songs, many on one of their shows as well. So
Yeah,
we'll put
he did
Eric
a amazing. He
Robertson.
did an amazing feature on a jazz record with Tim Bowman Jr. or Senior. Yeah,
Hmm.
it was just amazing. And I think he has new music out now.
Okay, so we'll put him at number 6. All right, who should be at number 5?
Mm, let me think. R&B. I'd have to go with maybe Angie Stone.
Ah,
You know.
yes, the late Angie Stone,
Yes. Mm-hmm.
when she made her debut back in 1999 with a song called No More Rain in This Cloud,
Mm-hmm.
sampling off from Gladys Knight and the Pips, Neither One of Us.
Right.
I was in the car with my late mother. She was dropping me off at the Port Authority back in
Mm-hmm.
October. And she was listening to the song and she was asking me, is that girl doing a remake of Gladys Knight and the Pips? I said, no. She's doing a song sampling. So I
Mm-hmm.
had to explain to her she's doing a new song over old stuff. So
Yes.
I had to explain that to her and break it down with her. So Angie Stone, she had other hits, including Black Brother and also I Wish I Didn't Miss You, which was another song she sampled off from
Yes.
the OJs, Black
Yeah.
Backstabbers back
Mm-hmm.
then. But me growing up, I didn't know that Angie Stone was a part of that hip hop group that she co founded called The
Sequence.
Sequence.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't know. And they were the first female lady rappers of hip hop on the Sugar
Yes.
Hill label.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't hear some of their songs when hip hop came on the scene at the end of the
Mm-hmm.
70s with the Sugar Hill Gang and then Grandmaster Flash
Yeah.
and Curtis Blow and the Treacherous Three and Kumo D and Public
Mm-hmm.
Enemy, just to name a few. But I never heard
All
about
those
that
E's.
group, The
Yeah.
Sequence. I said, oh,
Mm-hmm.
wow. Angie Stone was on that. I never heard her rap. I
Yeah.
only knew her from singing from back then. So
Exactly.
rest in peace to Miss Angie
Miss Angie
Stone.
Stone. Rest in peace, Queen.
Yes. Who should be at number four?
As the greatest, I have to go with Eric Benet.
Ah, Eric Benet.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, one of the other singers ever back in the late '90s. He came
Yeah.
on the scene at the end of the '90s with a remake of Toto's Georgie Porgy. So
Yes.
I was trying to figure out who was singing it. Was it Toto with Cheryl Lynn, or was it who's this other guy? And then we found out that the radio DJ was saying that's Eric Benet with special guest
Yeah.
Faith Evans. I say,
Mm-hmm.
oh, they're doing a remake of Georgie Porgy. Oh, okay.
Right.
And other songs he did duets with Shantae Moore. He did
Yes.
duets with the late Roy Ayers, you know, just to name a few. Although he had some other hits, but not as good as the one that when he came out back at the end of the 90s. So we'll
Right.
put Eric Benet at
Okay.
number four. Okay, we're up to number three.
Alexa off. Sorry. Yeah.
Number three.
Let's go with Tank.
Ah, Tank. We
Yeah.
haven't heard from him in a while. He made a
Mm-hmm.
couple of songs back in the mid 2000s. He had a song called I Deserve, some
Yeah.
others, just to name a few. We haven't
Please
heard from
don't
him
go.
from a
Yeah.
while. And
Mm-hmm.
I was watching something on YouTube and he has his own podcast called the R&B Tank Podcast. I was like, "That's Tank?" I
Right.
said, we haven't heard from him in a while. Now he has a host of his own podcast on YouTube, and he had some
Mm-hmm.
special guests from early R&B of the 2000s and 2010s. So, oh, okay. So we haven't heard from him in a while, but I know he's doing well with his podcast. So, congrats to him. So we'll put Tank at number three. Okay, who should be at number two?
Oh, Wanye Morris.
Ah, Wanye Morris, A Boys to Men.
Yes.
Yes. When the Wanye and Nate and Nathan and the guy who has the low voice, Darius, just to
Mm-hmm.
name a few, when they made their
Yeah.
debut back in 1991 with their song Motown Philly, and they
Yes.
also did a remake of It's So Hard to Say Goodbye to Yesterday, had
Mm-hmm.
some other tunes, including On Bended Knee. And the best one that I like is A Song for Mama. What a perfect
Yeah.
song for Mother's
Mm-hmm.
Day from the movie Soul Food. And let me tell you, Wanye and the guys had a string of hits back in the 90s, all the
Back
way
to
up
back.
until 2000. Yes, back
Mm-hmm.
to back. They won an American Music Award for their Best New Artist or Best New Group. and everything. And I got a chance to see some of their videos too. So
Hmm.
we'll put Wanye Morris, Boys to Men, at number 2. All right, who should be at number 1?
There's so many R&B artists that are deserving of number one, but right now one of my favorites is Kevin Ross.
Ah, Kevin Ross, best known
Yes.
for his debut song, This Is Alone, is a
Right.
long song far away. I
Right. And
love
Baby
that
Don't Go.
song.
Yes.
Came out 2018. I was listening to it on the radio and I said, "Who is this youngster?" I said, "Oh, love it.
Yeah.
Smooth, soulfully good." I downloaded
Yeah.
that song. I'll be playing that song when I'm on the Greyhound bus or on the Amtrak train. It was like,
Yeah.
soulfully good. Can't get it
His
off of my mind.
his
So,
vocals
yes,
are
it's a
like butter.
long
His
song away.
production, yeah,
Yes.
his production is amazing. His songwriting is out of this world. I mean, I love it. I love Kevin Ross. I love him.
hmm Yes, so there we have the top 10 R&B artists of all time.
Yes,
Well, Mr.
sir.
Caldwell, thank you so much for being here on the Black Soul Music Experience podcast. It is a pleasure talking with you. Thank you so much for bringing us some songs that uplift us, it inspires us. As I always say, music is the healing force of the world. It
Absolutely.
unites us, it moves us, it inspires us, and it brings people together. Thank you
Yes.
so much for being here.
Thank you so much, and thank you for this podcast. It's much needed, and you go into rich history of all this music, and you inspire people, you educate people, and just like me, you give people a platform. So thank you, Sam. You're greatly
Y-
appreciated.
You welcome. Now, before we go, where can we follow you for any upcoming events and where can we follow you on social media?
Social media. So I've got Facebook. That is I am Caldwell the official, the official. Um, I am on Instagram with I am Caldwell the official. I am on YouTube as I am Caldwell. Those are the three platforms, and then I have music that, as you said, is on all streaming platforms from singles that I've released in the past. So please come check me out and be
Okay,
encouraged, uplifted, and inspired.
amen. Download all the artists that we have talked about on this edition of the Black Soul Music Experience podcast. Visit iTunes.com, Spotify.com, or purchase a CD at Amazon.com. And make sure you follow I Am Caldwell. Look for him on Facebook / I Am Caldwell the Official. Look for him on Instagram, I Am Caldwell the Official. And also, you can check out all of his music videos streaming right now on YouTube. And make sure you check out all of his songs. It's a streaming available right now. Go to iTunes.com.
Yes,
And
sir.
ladies and
Let's move it
gentlemen,
forward.
if you want to check out this episode, please subscribe by going to the link. The link is riverside.fm/studio/Samuel Wilson Jr.'s. Don't forget to add the S at the end, dash studio. And yes, we will be posting this episode on Facebook, LinkedIn, and Twitter. And if you have a hard time getting on to riverside.fm, make sure you become a Patreon member. Subscribe to patreon.com/the Black Soul Music Experience podcast. And yes, I will be posting this episode on YouTube. So make sure you go to youtube.com/the Black Soul Music Experience podcast.
Yes,
And
sir.
please pass it on. Thank you for joining me as I close out this edition of the Black Soul Music Experience.
Thank you.
Well, that's about it for this edition of the Black Soul Music Experience podcast. I'm Sam Wilson Jr. Thank you for joining me, and please tune in next week for an all-new episode. The Black Soul Music Experience podcast is sponsored by the support of listeners like you. If you enjoyed this podcast, please subscribe by going to riverside.fm/studio/Samuel-Wilson Jr.'s-studio. And don't forget to check out my audio podcast episodes by becoming a member and subscribe to patreon.com/the Black Soul Music Experience Podcast. And also check out my video podcast episodes by subscribing to youtube.com/the Black Soul Music Experience Podcast. And please leave your comments, feedbacks, and replies by going to my Facebook homepage. Visit facebook.com/the Black Soul Music Experience Podcast. And you can also tweet me on X, aka Twitter, at Sam Wilson Jr. 66. As always, parting, remember this: reach for the top and your dreams will come true, and it can happen to you. From all of us, take care, God bless. Thanks for listening, have a good week, and please be safe.